to Kai Chi Alchemy. You can call me Katchi. This is a space of love, y'all. Welcome or welcome back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the cosmos today. I want to thank y'all for showing up. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thanks for co-creating community with me. I appreciate those comments, shares, likes, subscribes. Can y'all hype now? Is that a thing? As they all help me to expand my reach and help more people. This is going to be a collective message. It will not resonate with everybody, and I encourage you to take what resonates and leave the rest. Here we're going to do a brief one breath meditation. You can put your hand on your heart and your hand on your belly with me if you'd like, and if you want, you can hold it at the top for a moment. Alright, I'm going to ring this sound bowl, so if you have any sound sensitivities or anything, please remove your earbuds or turn down your volume or something like that. Alright, so before we get started on today's chapter, we are going to be reading a chapter from the Rain Cedars of Russia series. And because its title is actually a birth, birth, might be something in there for you, a verse from the Bible, I thought that it might be appropriate to pull a card or two from the biblical tarot. And it is quite a short chapter, so if you'd like to grab your coffee or tea or something, feel free to do that right now, because I don't believe this will be the longest video ever. Oh, did I just get a flipper? And I flipped and it went back in the deck. So it tried to show itself. I was like, oh no, thank you. The High Priest, Aaron, brother of Moses, is the card that came out, but I didn't see it. Like it turned over, but then it went back in the deck. So that's almost giving like a reversal energy. And because it's the High Priest card, which is all about kind of like church, religion, like schools, institutions, places with the High Priest, with the teacher, with the, it can have to do with hierarchy, it can have to do with like leadership and stuff. And obviously that can go in a very positive, productive, beneficial direction, or it can go in a very nasty, dangerous direction. So this may possibly be speaking more to the element of the High Priest card, the Hierophant card, about freedom, about like self-knowledge and like living in your own values and walking away from people, places, and things that do not align with your values. And then the other card that came out was Wheel Within a Wheel, Cycles of Life. So this is the wheel card here. So we have a 5 and a 10. So you change your perspective on this High Priest Hierophant energy and allow yourself to come into a wheel energy and kind of double this 5 into a 10. The Hierophant is the 5th card in the tarot, and the wheel is the 10th card in the tarot. So you are doubling, you are exponentially growing the possibilities in your life by getting really clear on yourself, like having a lot of deep awareness of your own morals, ethics, values, shadows, struggles, whatever, and making sure that you're making choices from that place of self-knowledge, from that place of integrity, from that place of authority, of personal authority, of inner authority. And through that process, you are seeing changes. And that may take a lot of different forms for a lot of y'all. Can we see what those changes, well, on the bottom of the deck we have the Star of Bethlehem. This is card 17. And also, let's see, 7 plus 1 is 8. It's giving kind of strength. Oh, you can't see, you're too far away. Yeah, I may or may not put those up on the community tab, but there's so many renditions of the star card. Go look them up online. They all have a lot of similar things in common as far as like hope, faith, renewal, healing. You are becoming your own North Star. You know how people say you're not the center of the universe? I didn't always. For a long time, I haven't liked that because you are the center of the universe. You are literally the center of your universe. And if you don't treat yourself like you are the center of your universe, there are going to be problems. I promise you. That doesn't mean that you should be like awful to people. You can totally be aligned. You can totally have boundaries. You can totally disagree. You can totally do those things and still be a relatively ethical person. I don't know if this is exactly accurate, but it was explained to me once that the difference between morals and ethics is ethics are kind of like fundamental, rooted in like our humanity, our compassion, our conscience, our consciousness, and morality is a lot more about things that are imposed upon you, right? It's like some outside authority is telling you this is bad, this is wrong, this is what you want, blah, blah, blah. But not at all encouraging you to like ask questions and develop an understanding around that for yourself and have the potential to reject it and deny it and work in a different direction. And so continue to do what you're doing if this message is resonating with you. Today we're going to be reading chapter 18 called In Him Was Life, and the life was the light of men. You may feel called to check out the Gospel of John if that's something that speaks to you that you're personally interested in. Upon my request, Anastasia took me to see the ringing cedar, which her grandfather and great-grandfather had talked about. It was not very far from the glade. The tree, approximately 40 meters tall, rose slightly higher than its neighbors, but its principal distinguishing feature was the aureole radiating from its glistening crown, similar to the halos around the faces of saints depicted on icons. The aureole was not even. It pulsated, and at its upper tip one could see a thin ray of light beaming into the infinity of the heavens. The spectacle was dazzling and absolutely charming. At Anastasia's suggestion, I pressed the palms of my hands to its trunk. I could hear a ringing or crackling noise, comparable to what one might hear standing under a high-voltage transmission line, only more resonant. It was I who happened to discover a way to send its energy back into space and then have it distributed here on Earth, Anastasia told me. You see how its bark has been torn off in various places? That is where the bear was climbing it. It was quite a challenge to get her to carry me up to the first branches. I clung onto the fur on her neck. She would climb and then let out a roar, climb and roar. After reaching the lowest branches, I was able to clamber up from branch to branch right to the top. I sat there for 2 days and thought of everything I could to save the tree. I stroked the tree and shouted up into the sky, but nothing helped. Then grandfather and great-grandfather arrived. You can imagine the scene. There they were, standing down below, reprimanding me and demanding that I climb down. I, in turn, demanded that they tell me what could be done with the tree. How to save the ringing cedar, since nobody was cutting it down. They would not tell me, but I felt that they knew the answer. Grandfather, old trickster that he is, tried to lure me down, promising to help me establish a connection with a certain woman I had been unable to reach on my own. This was a woman I very much wanted to help. Earlier, grandfather would only be annoyed by my desire to spend so much time on her instead of doing other things, but I knew that he could not help me, as great-grandfather had twice tried to do this behind grandfather's back, and he failed too. At that point, grandfather really began putting up a fuss. He seized hold of a branch, ran around the cedar tree, and beat the air with the branch, shouting that I was the most harebrained member of the family, that I was acting illogically, that I refused to accept sound advice, and that he would give my bottom a good whipping. And again, he beat the air with the branch. Now that was a real humdinger of a threat, and even great-grandfather burst out laughing. I too gave a hearty laugh. In doing so, I inadvertently broke a branch at the top, and a glow began emanating from it. And I heard great-grandfather's voice, serious, commanding, and entreating, all at the same time. "Do not touch anything more, little one. Come down very carefully. You have already done enough." I obeyed and climbed down. Great-grandfather silently embraced me. Trembling all over, he pointed at the tree, on which more and more branches were beginning to glow. Then a ray formed, pointing upward. Now the ringing cedar would not burn up. Through its little ray, it would give everything it had saved up for the past 500 years to people and to the earth. Great-grandfather explained that the ray had formed in the exact spot where I had shouted upward and had inadvertently broken a branch while I was laughing. Great-grandfather said that if I had touched the ray emanating from the broken branch, my brain would have exploded, as there was too much energy and information in this little ray. That was exactly how my papa and mama had perished. Anastasia put her hands on the mighty trunk of the ringing cedar she had saved and pressed her cheek against it. After pausing for a while, she continued her story. They, my papa and mama, once came upon a ringing cedar just like this one. Only mama had been doing everything a little differently since she did not know how. She had climbed up into a neighboring tree from which she reached out and touched one of the lower branches of the ringing cedar and broke it off, inadvertently exposing herself to the ray which flamed up out of the broken branch. The branch had been pointing downward, and the ray went down into the earth. It is very bad, very harmful when such energy falls into the earth. When Papa came, he saw this ray and saw my mama, who had been left hanging, one hand still firmly grasping the ordinary cedar branch. In the other hand, she held the broken branch of the ringing cedar. Papa, no doubt, had an immediate grasp of everything that had happened. He climbed up the ringing cedar, right to the top. Grandfather and great-grandfather saw him break off the upper branches, but they did not glow, while more and more of the lower ones began glowing. Great-grandfather said that Papa realized that it would not be long before he would never be able to climb down. The upward beaming ray, with its pulsating glow, failed to appear. All that was going on was more and more thin rays shining downward. An upward ray did appear when Papa broke off a large branch pointing up. And even though it was not glowing, he bent it and pointed it at himself. When it did flame up, Papa still managed to unclasp his hands. The branch straightened And the ray from the branch directed itself toward the sky, and then the pulsating aureole formed. Great-grandfather said that at the last moment of his life, Papa's brain was able to take in an enormous flood of energy and information, and that he was able, in some incredible way, to clear his mind of all previously accumulated information, and so was able to gain the time required to unclasp his hands and direct the branch upward just before his brain exploded. Anastasia once more stroked the cedar trunk with her hands, once more pressed her cheek against it, and stood stock still, smiling, listening to the ringing of the cedar. Anastasia, that cedar nut oil, are its healing properties stronger or weaker than the pieces of the ringing cedar? The same, provided the nuts are gathered at the proper time and with the proper attitude towards the cedar. Provided the tree bestows them of itself. Do you know how to do that? Yes, I do. Will you tell me? All right, I shall tell you. All right, thank you so much for being here with me today. Next time we're going to be reading chapter 19, The Need to Change One's Outlook on the World. I think that there probably is going to be a zodiac reading coming through in between there though, so we'll see what comes out first. I'll let you know. But before I let you go, I'm actually going to grab something real quick that chapter reminded me of. If I can find it. Oh, yes. Okay. So, this little bottle here is, I don't know, 15 years in the making or something. The relationships, the production environment, the people, the vision, the cooperation. This is something that, Vladimir talked about how long ago? I mean, the first book was written in 1994, right? So 20, 30 years of having this dream. And yes, there are people who have been learning how to and practicing making cold press oil from northern cedar or pine trees with the information and the recommendations provided in the books. And so it's just very, very, very cool to have seen the progression over time of people coming together and developing communities, developing homesteads, developing these connections and these routines and planting things and starting things and creating things, and then taking that product with all the prayer and all the love and all the intention inside of it and going to, climb trees and collect pine cones only when they're like in the best possible energy and mood and they want to pass that on to you. Like, there's so much love in this bottle here. If you don't believe anything about the medicinal benefits of pine trees, if you're here, you probably believe that people can impart resonance and vibration to you through physical means. And that's what this is. It's a literal labor of love, and all the connections and all the negotiations and all of the hiccups that happened to create the pipeline to be able to ship this product from this family from Russia to America. That's pretty cool. So if you want to figure out how to get some for yourself, I know I have the hookup, and it just seemed very relevant because they had mentioned it in that last chapter, and I totally forgot that was a part of that piece there. So if you're curious, now you know. If you didn't know, now you know. All right, I hope you have a beautiful day. Love, light, peace, and personal responsibility. I'll see you next time. 2010 on the clock.